So, hello everyone. Welcome to our new podcast, which is the Alien Voice. Hello and Assalamu alaikum, Shaba.
Hello, citizens of the world, and hello, Ali. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Today we are bringing you a special podcast, which is about mainly that how we can adapt to a new culture when you're living into a foreign country as an immigrant. And we will I'm Ali, originally from Pakistan and living in Germany already 11 years. Came for studies and started working. So I have gone through these challenges, which I'm going to explore together with Shaba. Shaba is living in US. Shaba, could you explain also your background bit?
Yeah, like you, Ali, I'm also an immigrant or an alien, and we decided to choose to this. We went with alien because it sounded much better. I think it's open to interpretation. I'm originally from Algeria. I was born and raised there, and I came to the United States about 23 years now. And I attended American schools, and I worked here. And then I moved to Florida 3 years ago, which I am absolutely in love. I love living here in Florida. So then. Conversations with Ali came about, and then we were brainstorming. We had a couple of shows, and it's like, yeah, we really actually enjoy talking to each other and talking to the audiences and then sharing our experiences. So then we felt like the most interesting, beneficial thing to do is to talk about our experiences coming from Muslim countries, leaving our homes, our friends, our loved ones, starting over from scratch, and all the funny challenges we've had. I mean, God knows we've had quite a few. What do you think, Ali?
Yeah, actually, our life is full of such experiences, and many people who are living already abroad, they can relate to us. They can share their stories with us in comments together, and also suggest the topic for the next time what we should talk about. And people who have not had chance yet to go abroad, they could have a feeling that how it feels like to live, what people lose, what they gain. It's not always a gain. There is always a lose. The integration part is challenging. And together with Shaba, we will explore this challenge and to specifically talk the first biggest challenge for today's episode. The topic of today's episode is the language. So wherever you go, most likely the language of that land you move is not the same as your mother language, and especially if you never learned in your home country or you didn't speak that much, that could be a big hurdle. So I start with Shaba. That could you tell your story, like where you had a biggest challenge when you moved from Algeria to US? What was it?
Oh my goodness. First of all, I did not speak English when I came to the States, like really zero, none.
Oops.
And yeah, so I landed in O'Hare International Airport, I remember. And the first freak out moment that I had is when I was pushing the cart and I had two carts stuck together. And the guy came to me like he was in uniform and everything. That was already intimidating in itself. And so he was pointing to the cart, and I was like completely oblivious, clueless about what's going on. And I thought I was doing something wrong. And of course, like all immigrants, when they come to a new country, if anybody in uniform comes to them, they think they are in trouble, right? And the first thing they think of is like, oh my God, I'm going to get deported.
I did something wrong. Yeah.
Right. And you carry that feeling of, oh my God, I don't want to do anything wrong to get deported, because at the end of the day, it takes a long time to feel home. And I have a few stories about the whole idea of getting in trouble and getting deported situations just because of language barrier. Yeah. What about you, Ali? So tell us about your first interaction with the English language.
Well, the thing is, I've been living in Pakistan, and English is the second language we learn from the school time. But I came to Germany, and Germany, I thought also, like, for me, the view was English is the language of the world. It's spoken everywhere. So when I got the opportunity of studying a master, and which was also offered in English, I said, okay, cool. I'm going Germany. The program is in English. I already can speak English. I practiced it online with Skype with different people. So I was a little bit prepared. But what I when I landed from the airport, and there's a Pakistani guy who picked me up. There is a community here which helps people, the new people who are coming. That was very nice. He picked me up, and then everything from the station, from the airport till the station where his home was in German. And to me, everything was so alien, because I felt like I saw first time white people with the language they are talking, which I do not understand. Not so many people were smiling or laughing. And
That's
then
typical for German people, right?
yes, it is kind of like, it was very surprising. I felt like I'm in a movie. Like, I used to watch only movies, right? So in Hollywood movies, they're like Germans, and how they talk with each other and so. But first time, I was like shocked. Okay, how could, if this guy would not have came there? So how could I manage myself to go around the city? And it was the similar story. Like, next day, um, as a Pakistani, I have a bad habit. Pakistani have a bad habit that they always come late, like half an hour, right? I'm not sure. Is it same in Algeria?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. And this guy, he was up to the German point that everything is on time. And I came late, and he was already gone. And I am in the middle of the city. I have no clue the name of the street, the people, and I'm trying to ask. First of all, people are not stopping. If they stop, then most of them, they could not answer it in English, that where I have to go and how I have to go. And I felt also like, should I ask? I felt so embarrassed that, I'm dependent first time in my life on others to tell me where to go and how to go, where I used to be the man who knew my city everywhere. So that was my first interaction, like directly in the cold water, different than expectation, as I imagined.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And the reason actually we're even talking about this is because I kind of want to, the people who are overseas, who are dreaming to leave their home countries, to get a feel of what it is. So if you are absolutely serious about coming to America or going to Europe or Australia, whatever you want to land into, do some homework, start getting yourself ready, and learn from our own mistakes, and it's like, it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, it's not all amazing. So for me, when I came to the US, I landed in O'Hare International Airport, and then I lived for a few years in a small town where I went to school. Actually, they have a really, really good school. It's called Chambon-Urbana. It's like 3 small towns combined together, and it's a campus town. So here I am thinking, of course, America, I'm going to go and I'm going to see beautiful blondes like Baywatch, and, everybody's driving a Ferrari. And I come to this farm town. Seriously, it was like a small town in the middle of cornfield. And the people, the community, they're mainly international students or students in general during school year. But I came December 26th, which happens to be a break time. So there was no students whatsoever. And the community that lives there are mainly farm people, completely different from what I thought. Like, where are the babes? It's like, where are the beautiful ladies? And then I remember just telling my family at the time, it's like, this is really not what I pictured. I go out grocery shopping or something, and then women are wearing these long, large T-shirts and tennis shoes and jeans. And it's like, no one is really wearing like hot, sexy clothes, and nobody's blonde.
Like in the movies, right?
And then I was told, like, no, this is a different culture. This is like a campus town. This is a farmland. And literally the town was in the middle of cornfields. Like, if you get out 5 minutes from either side, you're surrounded by corn, which for me was depressing, because really I come from the Mediterranean, and I had much better, sky and sea and food, and everything was so alive. And I come to this small town, which was completely different. So that in itself was a challenge. And then I remember, like, the first time I go out grocery shopping, I arrived to pay, and I handed a check because I didn't have anything else, like a little check that somebody, I was staying at my brother's at the time. So he handed me a check, signed and everything. And then I handed to the cashier, and he asked me for my driver license. So now in America, driver license is just like this little plate, but I gave him the one I have from Algeria, which literally folds like this in like 3 layers. And then, of course, when he saw that, he's like, what is this? Again, he calls the manager, and I literally started screaming, thinking that I was going to get deported. Like, I am legal. So, and that feeling actually was with me for a very long time, just because I felt I was an alien. I had a green card, and it was an alien number, and I was referred to as an alien. And I hear that aliens are not citizens, and there is a whole stuff around it. It took me a very long time to really get used to the idea of, I am now, this is home for me, So yeah, it's just interesting stories that we have been through, I guess.
I think I connect to that you were expecting the Baywatch babes. It's a typical story that Pakistan people, they expect as well, the man, because they keep watching this. Western society is so different from our way of living that the expectation is like, you will land on the airport, and as soon as 2 minutes pass by, you can get a girl, like one girl on one hand, other girl on the other hand. You are like enjoying the life finally, right? That never happened actually, So the expectation goes away. I tell you one. I was living in my student apartment, and there was a complete house, and each house has many floors, and each floor there 10 people are living, and so, and they're different houses, and they make a meeting every week, every month, what events to organize, what kind of parties they're gonna make, if they go do grilling somewhere. So there's so much fun activities going on, and that they also discuss responsibilities, like who will do the cleaning of this floor, who will do the cleaning of the toilet this week, who will throw the garbage from the kitchen. So there are responsibilities, and big part is the fun part as well, and the fundraising for that as well. What happened the first time I went to this house meeting, and this house meeting, there was a house master who was organizing it, and it was all in German going on. And I was like trying to understand, okay, this is an international group. Many people who don't speak German, they are also sitting there. Let's say there was like 25 young people in one room. And waiting until I was like, smiling at everyone like this, hey, I'm here. I'm not invisible. I'm also here. But nobody notices. And at some point I got, no, I have to say, and it was like 1 hour passed, and then my energy was completely down, that I was ignored. Aww. And then I asked, hey, why don't you do in English? And he said, hey, you are here in Germany, so you should speak the German language. Wow. I said, no, my studies are in English, and we are many international people. So why you can speak English, but you don't want to speak English? But then I would not take part. He said, no, at the end, I will translate that in English. Calm down. Okay, I was waiting. At the end, what he did, all the fun part, which was going out, making friends, it was in German, but the responsibility part was in English. So I have to like clean it. I have to do pay for it. I have to like this. This was the only part which they think they should post in English. So first time I learned, okay, it's not going to work like this. I have to adopt another strategy. I have to stop expecting from other people that they speak English or they involve me. I have to be the one who
take control.
To pull them.
Take control. Absolutely.
Did you need to do that as well? Some places that you felt really like alienated, and then you needed to do something to get in part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it's not uncommon to feel alienated by others or to alienate yourself from others. It's just the way it is. For me, the big alienation, I think, was with alcohol. As a Muslim, I do not drink. And it happens, especially when I lived in St. Louis. I had a lot of friends, and we were part of some entertainment industry. And we would go out, for instance, and everybody's drinking, and I don't, And it's like, and sometimes it's funny because they offer to buy me alcohol because I don't drink it, and I'm like, no, I don't drink alcohol because of that. It's haram. So I have to explain to them. That didn't work. So that excuse that it's a religious thing didn't work for them. So after a while,
Hmm.
I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to solve this problem in a way that people just leave me alone? I came up with a good solution. So when people offer me alcohol, I say, no, thank you. I'm a recovered alcoholic. And I mean, I
That's
kid you
nice.
not, they have so much respect for me at that point, because here I am sitting around people who drink, because I have events or even work related or whatever, and I don't drink. And I say, I'm a recovered alcoholic. And all of a sudden, it becomes like a position of encouragement and support. And I think sometimes you have to, to play around in a way that you have your peace and you live your life without really clashing. How many times am I going to explain that I don't drink because of my faith and this and this and that? Sometimes it gets old, right? And so when I say I'm a recovered alcoholic, everybody's just so encouraging and supportive. Another thing that I alienate myself from is celebrating Christmas. I don't celebrate
Hmm.
Christmas. And even when I get invited by people, I don't get involved in that. It's something, I'm not big on holidays and celebrations to begin with. I'm not a big fan of that. But let alone holidays that I don't feel like I'm aligned with. So these also that are some things that I alienate myself from. I used to go to potlucks a lot when, of course, we used to go out, and a potluck is where everybody cooks something. And sometimes I literally feel alienated when there is no non-pork food.
Hmm.
That everything that everybody brings on the table is mainly pork. And I
Right.
tell myself, I mean, what is part of, there is Muslim who is a guest who does not eat pork. So I always take that into consideration when I go to people who may not know that I'm a Muslim and I don't eat pork, that I take at least one dish or two that I can, enjoy, even if it's my own cooking. See, these are the things that people, especially people coming from our, upbringing, religion, that they really need to pay attention to, because you can get lost quickly here, because no one is going to care about the fact that you don't eat pork, that you don't drink alcohol, that you don't do a lot of stuff. And they will assume that, oh, it's okay, you live here, you're like them. And that's what they start seeing the difference. That, you talked about, for the first time you saw white people. I mean, when people look at me in the street, in the job, and here and there, they don't really think of me as an alien until I bring my accent, until I bring my tradition, my religion, until I establish myself. It's like, that's when they start seeing a difference, and they start asking questions. And some of them welcome the diversity, and some of them,
Mhm.
it's not for them, and it's okay. Either way, it's okay. So yeah.
Yeah, we have one difference here. I think you might have also learned English before coming, and the US is more, I think, welcoming to, because it's
Yeah, we
a
talked
not
about it
one
last time.
nation.
Yeah.
Nation,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a mix
Mhm.
of many nations. Whereas Europe is a mix of separate nations. So Spain is Spanish, Italy Italian, German is for German people, and language. People are so proud here that if they would know the language, they would not communicate. They would try that first you communicate in their language, and that's
Yeah.
how they try to sell. But it doesn't make them sound so sexy, that is like, if somebody impose on you, now you have to do it, then you feel like a burden, and then you start feeling obligation. And if you don't have a time, because if you're studying or you're working, and then you have limited time left which you could use for learning a language, it would take a lot of time. It's not like mathematics that you sit down, solve, but it's a lot related to practice, repetition. No matter how smart you are, it's going to take a lot of time, right? And
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're a perfectionist, it stops you a lot in that case. That you say, I could speak a broken sentence, I could speak broken language, and that's fine with it in the beginning, right? And many
So
people then don't speak.
I'm interested in the word you said, perfectionist. What does perfectionism means to you?
Perfectionism is that you set the standard for you that if you want to do something, you want to do the best, or you don't do it. So that's why you procrastinate on something. You want you because you feel like half done thing is not a good thing, but it doesn't work in a language case, right? And
No,
especially,
you
yeah,
cannot wait until you master English to start talking, because the whole idea of becoming better and do your best is take a risk and not being afraid to being judged or laughed at. um, like I know, for instance, there are still some words that I mispronounce. And I have 3 kids who are now, living in other states. But I remember when they used to live with me and talk to me all the time, they would, correct me. I say
mm.
something, of course, oh, the kids, they love to show you how wrong you're saying something or how wrong you're doing. You have no idea. I mean, one day you'll have kids and you'll understand. So they will correct me. And, the way I answer, it's like, it's okay, guys, I'm not from here. I acknowledge that I'm not from here. I did not grow up learning English. And then they tell me that argument doesn't work anymore, because I've been here over 20 years or over 15 years. And I've been going to higher education, and I'm well educated, and I teach and I manage and stuff like that. So it's an argument that they don't accept, but I still use it. I'm not going to lie to you. I still use it because I am not from here. I did a good job at adapting, learning the language, understanding the culture, being respectful, and also establishing my values and living, according to those norms. But at the end of the day, I'm really not from here. So if I mispronounce something or I don't know the right conjugation of the verb or whatever, I'm not going to sweat it. And I want people really to understand that growth and learning happens with practice. Practice is the mother of all skills that can get you to communicate as fluently as myself, for instance, or and it hasn't been easy. And if I was afraid and waiting until that perfection, I would still be locked out in my room and not really communicating with anybody. So it's like, yeah, just be yourself.
Shaba, did you ever felt embarrassed about that you have a different accent in the beginning? Now I don't feel any accent, but if you had ever an accent, and did you feel when you will speak, people will notice definitely you are not from here, and that
Oh my
already
God.
makes a difference that they are originally from there and you are the outsider just because of the accent.
Oh my goodness. I have a story to share with you.
Tell me.
Heartbreaking.
Oh,
So when I was in the States about maybe the first year, right? My English was like, I was taking English as a second language. I was really working hard on my language and all that. But, bad accent. It was like so bad. And one of my friends actually plugged me into a job where, mind you, telemarketer. You know what a telemarketer is? You sell stuff by phone, right? And here I
cold
am.
calling.
I was selling insurances on by phone, calling people. And
Unbelievable. Wow. That would be
yeah.
so difficult for you, right? To start
Oh
with
my
that.
God, for somebody who doesn't speak English, are you crazy? It's like so insane. So most of the time, the people are fine, because like you said, people in America are used to bad accents. So one time I have this caller on the line and I'm reading my script, right? And I
Mhm.
kid you not, Hallie, every 2 minutes he would stop me and ask me how the pronunciation of that word. And he goes like, oh, you meant this word. And I'm like, yeah. So then I go back. Oh, you meant this. I kid you not. He was listening very meticulously just to find every faux pas that I make in the way I pronounce. And then after, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes of this exchange, beautiful one, he says, listen, lady, I don't have anything against you, but I'm not here to teach you how to pronounce your words. maybe you need to start, go learn English and then come back and give me a call. And he hung up. And of course, these calls are usually heard, they are
Mm,
monitored by, our supervisors or whatever. I hang up,
right.
I went to the break room and I just fell apart and I started crying. I was just crying,
Mm,
I think that was the one time really where I felt that being an alien, that my accent was not good enough. And I was crying, and I remember a couple of people came, of course, to cheer me up and then to tell me that you will always meet people for whom we are not good enough, who are going to put you down instead of lifting you down or lifting you up. So that day, I came home, made a decision that I was going to quit my job, that job, which I did. And I decided that I was going to focus my whole attention in gaining the tool of communicating, because that's where the power lays. And I
mm.
did not tell myself, oh my God, this person insulted me and my life is over, I'm going to give up. No, I did what I did do best. I like when I have my heart broken, I have a box of tissue, a can of ice cream, a chick flick movie for one night, cry my heart out. The next day I wake up and life is wonderful and take control over. And I really went full speed for the following semester. I took all the courses that I could in speaking, in listening, in writing, and before no time I went from, maybe a zero 0.5 of communicating to people to really having conversations with lawyers or with professors. And I can actually have a decent conversation. So
That,
again,
that that is a good turn that you took that moment to build yourself. You didn't feel like you are rejected by somebody and you would never try again. And I
and it
see
shouldn't,
most
yeah.
of time it happens that for example, there are Turkish people here, there are Arabic people here, Pakistani in Germany. And when I came, I heard a complaint from German people that um, these people, they don't integrate, they don't like to talk to us. And I was wondering why they don't do it. And I think then I figured out that they tried in the beginning, and
And then
once
they
they
gave
were
up. Yeah.
rejected, yeah, they
Yeah.
gave up. And they say, why should I spend so much time and energy to make relationship with those people who are not interested? And I was also going through that same stage, and I say, I cannot I went out to I did you know that movie Yes Man, where
Yes.
he has to say everything to
Yeah.
yes to, and there's
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
events happening in Germany, and I went to all those events which even I didn't like, and I say, yes, I will go and I will make friends. And then I figure out, like, if there are 10 people sitting in a group and eating or talking, and if I do not participate, they do not take me in.
Yeah.
And
Of course.
I was expecting, because of the Pakistani culture, you cannot sit just like that. Somebody will involve you. Hey,
Of
friend.
course.
Hey, Ali, what you doing? What you do? So they engage you. And here they don't. And then I needed to learn, okay, I need not to be a baby. I need not to be a passive person. I have to be the host. I have to involve people and ask them provoking questions that they can answer. I learned this art. And even I learned, even if I cannot talk much because of my language expression ability is less in the beginning. So what I did, and it works, and anybody could do that. Try sports. Try going into a group of ski or football or game playing or dancing, for example. I found it very interesting because in dancing you don't talk much. Dancing, you're
You
more
cannot even
moving and
hear people
connecting with the
because of the
partner.
music. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good when the music is so high, then you can like turn off
just
the
just
tongue,
move.
and
Just move.
yeah, and then everything is expressed through your body. And in this way you are using an another way of expressing yourself, and people see that expression and they connect with you, and those
So
people who connects with you, they become your friend.
so what kind of dance do you like? Or do you do?
I love salsa and bachata. Actually, both are
Oh,
Latino
no
dances.
kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I used to, a lot of bachata. I belong to a Latin dance studio.
No way.
Oh, yes, way. And my favorite is bachata. Prince Roy, he's from Puerto Rico. Yeah, and we have a
Yeah.
huge community here. Oh my God! Wow, wonderful. Yeah, I do salsa dancing. I do bachata, merengue. Yeah, I there was a time where I was thinking about really doing it as a professional level, like a ballroom dancer. I think it's just so beautiful.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
are you good? Are you good? Are you any good?
Oh yeah, yeah. I started with
Let's do
nothing,
it.
and I was so shy to ask anybody
Oh
to
my
dance, like
God.
for many years. But now I'm teaching sometime, and
Oh my God,
nowadays
that's
because
good.
of
Wow.
Corona, it's not going on.
We should do a virtual one. How about that?
Virtual one.
Let's do a bachata, just teach people the steps and the moves.
Sure,
Yeah, I
this
love
could
it.
be funny. I
Yeah.
could do also solo like a man styling. So if you go ask the girl to dance with you and she say I don't know what kind of a man it is, so you do the first like like the birds do the kind of a dance to
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
attract
yeah.
her. Hey,
Yeah.
I know something, and this could be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found this is really a language. It's
Oh
communication
yeah,
two
yeah.
ways. How
Music,
to ask
food,
the girl for
dance, food.
respectfully,
Yeah.
keeping make it playful. How to there's a vocabulary, what kind of different moves they exist. So this is a second way, Shaba, that I think if somebody's weak in the language, they could use a sport or a hobby or
Or
something
food,
which connects.
food.
Or food. Yeah,
I
food
told
is a
you the
great.
other day, I love cooking and I love feeding people. And I had a lot of potlucks at my house where I do traditional and Algerian food, and everybody who came, like Americans, just love it. And that in itself, when you start feeding people in event, even if it's simple, friends, and they will connect with you. They will connect with you.
So how do you do this? Do you cook a big pot and invite people in your home?
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. Actually, it's good to be your friend, right? That anytime,
Yeah, and
like,
then recently, since I moved to Florida, I don't have as many like friends, like American friends, but I'm very involved with my community, the Islamic Center here in Daytona Beach. Every Friday, I would cook and take food. When before Corona, of course. So when I used to live in Daytona, that's pretty much what I used to do. Every Friday, I would cook food and take it. And then I have some friends that I really love. A couple of families are African American, so I know the kind of dishes that they like. For instance, one of the husbands, he loved my rice, so I'll make him rice. I make the best rice ever, better than the Pakistani, and I'll challenge you on that. Oh
I
yeah,
don't
oh yeah,
agree
oh yeah,
with
oh
that.
yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Well, we're gonna have to have a challenge one day. And then I make the couscous and some, African dishes, North African dishes, because I know they like them and they don't have anybody else making them for them. So yeah, I really love cooking and I love feeding people.
Shaba, how is it in US when you meet between the Islamic community? Which language are they speaking? Is it Arabic or is it English?
So mainly English. However, there is a good Moroccan community. So I know the ladies and I talk to them in Arabic.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, the other ones, they are from like Europe. They don't speak French or Arabic. So it's like they speak English. And I have lots of Pakistani friends. So when you talk about going to parties, a lot of doctors and engineers who've been here like 40 years. So when I go to their homes for whatever party, like you said, I get there and I'm surrounded. Even my husband, when he came with me, he knew nobody. And he's like, is it okay for me to come? I don't know anybody. And I'm like, oh, don't worry, honey. It's not going to last. The second he got there, I introduced him to a couple of people, and now they're buddies and friends. And every time we go to event, he has people to talk to, and he's really enjoying it. And of course, there is the Syrian community, which is my husband's community, that when I meet with them, it's Arabic. So overall, it's English, but it's clusters. So some of them can be Arabic. And
What happens if somebody joins this community or your event, which and they cannot speak Arabic? It's always a challenge when you're especially sitting in a group that you have to speak the language which many people are speaking versus you brought a friend who wanted to see your culture or religion, and now they can't speak the language. At the same time, you have to be that bridge in between.
we
Did
do
you?
both.
Yeah.
We do both. Like if we have a majority English speakers, we go with English and then we translate to the person who doesn't understand English. English in Arabic. If we have a big group in Arabic, we speak Arabic and then we translate to the person who doesn't speak. So we are very, which I love in America, we are very mindful of who is in the group. Like oftentimes we are a group of Arabs who speak Arabic, one
Mhm.
American, one American who doesn't understand. The whole conversation becomes English based. Even
That is
like
so great. That's so
yeah,
beautiful.
even
Yeah.
like if those Arabs don't speak English well, so you're listening the whole evening bad English from people who can communicate in their own language, but they don't because there is this one person who does not speak the language. But we are very respectful in that sense, which I really appreciate about Americans and about the culture overall. And they try really to integrate everybody in the conversation.
Mhm.
That way
Mhm.
you don't feel alienated.
Yeah, yeah, because that's the point. There should not be a feeling coming that they versus us. That this is our group of people versus this is the second group, or these are locals versus these are some foreigners.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's really great. But yeah, that's the difference when I think about this. That in US, then it's much better than in European countries still, because here it's not the case. Usually, people will even say to your face that, hey, you are here, why don't you speak our language? I went
yeah.
even French. I liked the language, it's a sweet language. And when I went to France, and there was asked guy, if this museum is going to be closed or raised away or so, he answered me only in French. And I say, I'm a tourist, he's sitting in a tourist place, he should be able to speak something, but he didn't. And same, I could tell, I loved Spanish people because of the energy and the talkative and touch part. They're very
Very
similar
friendly.
to,
Yeah, they're very
very
friendly
friendly,
people. Yeah.
similar to what I'm used to of Pakistan. Whereas Germans are different in this case. They don't touch you much. They keep a distance, and they talk kind of like monotone, but not so much like we are talking up and down, and so. And I made friend. Yeah, it's like, mostly like this. And I was on a festival
And
with
by the
them.
way, we do not mean to criticize German people, by the way. We're just saying, we're just stating the fact of how people are. There is nothing wrong or right. It's just how different cultures and different people are. I don't want people to be offended, because that's not the point here. It's just like every nation, every culture has its own differences. Like Italians speak a lot with their hands, so you need to stay out of the way. And then I'm not even getting into my Algerian people, how we talk, because we have some interesting way of speaking. But
Yeah, it depends
everybody is
who you
different.
ask. Actually, everyone has a different view, right? So there
Yeah.
was a friend of mine in my language course from Holland, and he found German people very warm and welcoming. And I was like, we come from very different worldview. So there is no universal truth that, when I think of the Germans are cold, so that is true. And there is a guy who maybe his people are much colder than this, and he found them warmer. So it's really depends who you ask. So I'm talking right now as a Pakistani, of course, in this case. And it's same goes to Spanish people. When they love to talk with each other. And if I was once in a group of four, we were a group of four. Three people could speak Spanish. There were two Spanish people, one girl, one guy, and one Argentinian, and they spoke Spanish. The only way connecting us together was because the dance festival, we were together, we were going together. And it was the same story. Like, they switched to Spanish, and I was like smiling and trying. Maybe now they would maybe, switch it to English or explain why they are laughing too much.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
weirdest thing ever.
yeah.
If you are in a group of four or more, and people start laughing and you don't get it,
Oh,
and
yeah,
like, what
yeah.
shall I do? What happened? Is it about me? Even, you start thinking, even though it's not about you, but it feels weird that you're not included. And I
Yeah.
told them, hey, I like that your energy. I like that there's something funny. I would like to be a part of it.
Can I
It is,
understand what's going on? Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you should say, is there a booger on my face? Usually in America, that's what we say. Like if you're completely alienated or something and people are laughing, you don't get it. It's like, excuse me, is there a booger on my face and I'm not aware of it? So then they have to stop, because you're shocking them with the question. It's unexpected. Then they shock, they jump, and they're like, no, there's no booger on your face. It's like, okay, then what are you laughing at? So something like
Yeah,
that can break the ice and make it more fun. All right. So do we have any questions from
yeah. Let's go through comments that
comment? Yeah, let's see what people are talking about.
so
Salam,
Abdul
salam, Abdul
Qayyum, wa alaikum
Qayyum.
salam. Zulkunar had assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Sharik bhai, agree with Shaba, just be yourself, don't worry about perfection. That's true.
Yeah, done beats perfect.
That must be embarrassing. Thanks for sharing. That's Shaba, your story.
About the telemarketing. Oh, I got over it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
So Sarfaraz is also from Saudi Arabia. Walaikum salam. Nice discussion. Dr. Sajjad Wahab bhai, what is your suggestion for a country like Pakistan, a country of multi-language? Our curriculum focused on English, however, our national language is Urdu and mother language. That's very really good question, actually, because what I learned here in coming to Germany, that your mother language is so much valuable, that if these people, they learned English from their childhood as well, they can speak, but they do not want to promote English. They want to promote their German language and culture, which make totally sense. So why we are throwing away our language, or we sometimes look down upon those people who don't speak English? If somebody speak Urdu, then we think maybe he, it's a class-based schooling system, so he may came from a school which was not well on standards. So my suggestion is that we should start turning back to the national language, which connects us as well. At the same time, we have it's very good topic and complicated, because at the same point we have to engage with the world as well. If we don't speak the language of the world, which is English right now, so how do we will have such a hindrance? We would not be able to communicate. But my suggestion back, we should start respecting our national language and also our mother language. If you have Punjabi, Sindhi, I don't know, Shaba, is it same for you? Like you have an Algeria Arabic language, you have French language, you have Berber, right? So Berber probably
Yeah,
would be also language.
Yeah, and I like the question because it's similar to us as well. It's similar to Spain. I know the Catalan is one of them. They have their own language and the official language. So for us, it's Amazigh. Amazigh, we have 4 groups and they speak different types of Amazigh already. So, and then we have the Algerian that we speak in the street, and we have French. And then, of course, we have Arabic.
Right.
And just for the people listening here, the Amazigh people actually had to fight to make the language an official language in Algeria that is actually studied. So now Algerians can actually learn the mother tongue in schools within the Amazigh communities, because we felt like we deserved, after everything, we deserved as Amazigh to learn and teach our language as well as Arabic. So after a long fight, I think I was there in Algeria, and we were on strike for about 1.5 years or so to get the government to accept that we teach Amazigh in schools. So Amazigh for me is my mother tongue. Arabic is my official language. And then French and the other languages are the street languages that I communicate with.
How is it that if somebody speaks Arabic versus somebody speaks French, that the French people given more respect just because they speak French?
Honestly, I left home a long time ago. So the culture in Algeria has changed dramatically. I remember growing up in Algeria, everybody spoke French because we were just getting out colonization and becoming an independent country. And so French was very integrated in schools. I did all my studies in French. But more recently, going back home, like when I talk to especially the teens and the young adults in the streets, I was actually shocked that they don't speak French as well, which, was part of our way of communication. So I think there is a shift in the culture where people now are identifying themselves with more with the Arabic language than the French language. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people speak French. My dad actually, spoke French and Berber only. He was really bad with
Hmm.
Arabic, and he wasn't really interested in communicating in Arabic. So I think people are different. Um, yeah, but it's like the language of the intellect, the elite, in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. Similar in Pakistan. English is more when you speak, then it sounds like elite, even though we study. Yeah. Okay, Shaba, the- I
Other
guess
questions?
there's one comment.
We
We
should
should
learn.
learn English.
All right, we should learn English as an international language, but we should not ignore our language like Urdu and whatever mother tongue. Government should make curriculum in national language up to 10 standard class. Please support the rise this issue. I do agree with you, doctor, because again, those of you who've been listening to my talks and my mind, in a way, I am someone who advocate for the pride of your national identity. I'm proud to be a Muslim. I'm proud to be a Mazir. I'm proud to be an Algerian. I'm proud to contribute into the global citizenship with who I am and its wealth. And I also talk about how when you have different things coming at you, which happened to me growing up, different cultures, languages, civilizations, I took a bit of everything, and I call myself a heterogeneous person because that's at the end of the day who I am. I am a mix of a little bit of everything, and I created a balance. But your roots, though, your roots and your origins is something that is priceless, just like your family. So it's really what grounds you, and your mother tongue, your identity, your nationality. Those things are priceless. And living in America, I would rather be the Algerian born entrepreneur in America than just be the an entrepreneur in America.
That is so good. You said, I think we should take this as a next topic. And all those people you're watching this and sitting together with us, please suggest also what things you would like to hear. So I think, Shaba, what you said, what makes you what is you are like, it is hetero identity. You it is so important that you have to be to yourself, where you come from, your origin. I do not get people who change their name just that the foreigner people cannot speak their name. I was a friend of mine. She's from Africa and she has a difficult name, and she didn't like to change it, and it was difficult in the beginning for us to know. But just because we are lazy to pronounce it
Oh
correctly,
yeah,
why
yeah,
should she lose her identity? So that's why, whatever, I think your mother language is a local language. That is because of your region, your area, city. Is it Sindhi language, Punjabi language? They should not die. These are coming from your forefathers for generation. If you do not speak it, if you adopt English, nobody would speak. It would not go to your children, right? So we have to make this kind of like a mix and match that respect our local language, respect our national language, and give it equal importance to where it is being used. Yeah.
yeah. And also, when you are comfortable with your identity and who you are, that's how people respect you.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Period. That's how people
Yeah.
respect you. You know?
People don't respect fake people who are copying others. There's, at
Yeah,
some point, some originality has to come through you. That makes you
absolutely.
interesting. Otherwise, you are just another person. If
Oh
you
my God.
are
Yeah, you have no
Algerian American, you are more interesting to me than you are if you're just American, right?
Yeah, you have no idea how many conversations I've had about when I say I'm from Algeria and I'm a Berber. Algeria they get, but Berber, not many people heard of us. So long discussions, and some of them they go to Wikipedia, whatever, and they start Googling and they start messaging me. Oh, I learned that Massinissa and Jugurtha and this and that, and and they really start engaging and they learn things about things that they didn't know. And I think that's part of connecting with people is really teaching them about you and who you are, and creating a form of appreciation, and they start appreciating you, who you are, your struggle, your journey, and they learn more, and that's how humanity comes together.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I think with
Okay.
this we're getting close to the end of our show.
Right. So thanks everyone who been watching us, giving us this time. This is so valuable. We really appreciate.
Yeah,
It
thank you.
could be great that you could participate with us in posting comments and sharing this message. Maybe it helps at the end. Our idea is that we share our problems and solution we found, so that if somebody is going through that, they can feel not isolated, that it is only happening to them, but it is happening to everyone, and they share this humanity, that it's a problem, common problem, right? And some of the solution which we will discuss.
All right. Yeah. And again, the idea is no one has to live life alone. No one has to live life alone, and we're created as humanity, as a big giant family, so we can actually share experiences and learn from each other's mistake and support each other through life. It's a long journey. It's a long journey.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
So
thank you
for
so
this
much for
long
watching.
journey,
Yeah,
we
go
will
ahead.
make another one. And please join us for the next cast. And if you have any
Same
suggestion
day,
that
same
what we should
time.
talk about, yeah,
Yeah, same day, same
please
time.
suggest
It'll
us
be, it'll
also.
be Thursday at noon. We'll plug in and join us in the conversation and ask us questions. And Ali, we decided to go with identity next week then.
This is a very good topic. This is a
I
very
love
hard,
it.
touchy topic.
Yeah, I love it. All
Definitely.
right. All right. All right. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you so much, and have an amazing, amazing week, and
Salam.
coming soon. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.